In this picture, it's represented how the different sources of selenium are digested. And the standard source of selenium is sodium selenide. Sodium selenide will enter the rumen, which is the first part of the picture, and the rumen microbes, which are able to do so many good things. In this case, they are doing bad things because they form partly elementary selenium, and this form of selenium is no longer available for absorption, so that it's excreted with the feces. The problem is when high amounts of selenium are not available for absorption, free radicals cannot be degraded, are accumulated in the cells of the body, and cause a disease. So we need to make sure that high amounts of selenium are absorbed. So there are two different strategies, and one of them used by us. This product is called Mia Trace Selenium, and it's a coated selenium source. So it means that the selenium particles are coated with a fat layer so that the rumen microbes cannot degrade or change the chemical structure of the selenium, so that all of the selenium that we are feeding can be absorbed in the small intestine. So we have an absorption rate of almost 100% of the selenium that we are feeding. And by doing so, we make sure the immune system of the animals is strong and has sufficient amounts of selenium-dependent enzymes to degrade free radicals, so that animals have a low risk to face any kind of disease. To summarize, what are the consequences of vitamin deficiency, especially considering the vitamins A, E, D3, and also selenium as a complex? So first of all, we can see a higher disease incidence and higher mortality rates amongst all ruminant species. We can often face white muscular disease or reduced suckling reflex in newborns. This is a result of a deficiency of antioxidants, vitamin E, selenium, and vitamin A during the gestating phase of a female animal, because the unborn lamb or calf inside the body of these animals will absorb the nutrients that are fed to the mother, and therefore, when it's born, a sufficient storage of these nutrients will be found inside their bodies. But if we do not feed the gestating animals sufficiently, the newborns will already face a deficiency and therefore face, for example, white muscular disease, which is represented by an incapability of moving these muscles. Therefore, they will not suckle and not drink any milk. In dairy cattle, we can see an increased incidence of retained placenta and metritis, and also the fertility will be impaired, as in lower conception rates and higher amounts of abortions. Especially in the fresh milking phase, within 60 days after calving, there's a higher incidence of mastitis, so also this deficiency. So there are many different aspects in the daily life of the animal where vitamins play an important role. Now I have covered the essential vitamins, vitamin A, D3, and E, but there's a special group, and these so-called semi-essential vitamins can be produced in a fully developed and healthy rumen. And it's very important to point that out, because if the rumen is not healthy or not developed, these vitamins cannot be produced, so they need to be supplied via feed. And that's why they are not called not essential vitamins, but semi-essential vitamins. And what does it mean, healthy rumen? This picture in the middle shows a typical layering of a rumen on the inside. So inside the rumen, which is the main digestive organ of the ruminant, we will find like a big tank with half full of liquid. And on top of this liquid phase, there's a fiber mat that consists of millions and millions of microbes. But this fiber mat is very important, and this can only be built when the feed consists of sufficient amounts of fiber. If there's not enough fiber inside the feed ration, this fiber mat cannot be built, and the rumen microbes have no habitat, which means as a result they cannot produce any vitamins. And that's why it's so important about ruminant feeding that ruminants are grazers and fiber degraders, and they need a certain amount of fiber inside their ration to build up this fiber mat to make sure feed is digested, of course, but also essential nutrients can be produced. Considering young and to know that young ruminants are born as monogastric animals. So there's a second stomach in which the milk is digested, and the rumen is a non-developed organ at this stage. So on the top left, we can see the rumen. Animals are only eating or consuming milk. So the rumen is not developed and it does not have a function. So it's very important to start the rumen development early, because after we stop milk feeding and wean our young animals like calves or lambs, they need to rely on what they can digest inside the rumen. So it's important to feed them with milk for long enough periods so they can overcome this period in which the rumen is not developed. Also, it's important to feed roughage to build up a fiber mat inside the rumen and to give the rumen microbes a habitat to live. But great, because it will improve the absorption surface inside the rumen, and also it will increase the growth rates because it has a higher concentration of nutrients. In this manner, then the rumen at the end of the milk feeding large, made for a high feed consumption and also very well developed to absorb nutrients. But if we only feed milk and roughage or milk and concentrate, the rumen cannot digest or cannot digest properly and not develop properly. So that also B vitamins can be important to consider, and this is what I mean when I say a fully developed and healthy rumen. If there is a healthy and fully developed rumen, there's a huge amount and high number of nutrients that are produced. I'm not single vitamin here, but what we can say is that these water-soluble vitamins or semi-essential vitamins have many different catalytic functions, or they act as control mechanisms in the metabolism. So they are really crucial to get the whole system and the whole body going and to achieve high growth rates. So this is something we should really consider when we are feeding our animals. Just one example, I think it's the most important thing to say about the water-soluble vitamins. It's the vitamin B1 or thiamine deficiency. Vitamin B1 is responsible for the energy supply of the brain and the glucolysis inside the brain. And that's why a vitamin B1 deficiency will lead immediately to central nervous system dysfunctions.